How's everybody?
Ash is fine, relatively speaking.
I'm suitable.
He's suitable. That's perfect.
She has such a good one. Because, I mean,
I can make an Ash of myself every now and then.
ask me no
It
questions. And
suits you well, right?
I'm, yep. Mm-hmm.
They're going to get tired of our little puns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Oh, so we were, well, I guess there's a couple things. I mean, nothing, I don't know that we've got anything major, right?
No, we're having a meeting, our next meeting on Saturday. Yep. And it'll be fun.
Well, I've started or have enrolled myself. Have you heard of Hillsdale College?
Why does that sound familiar?
Well, it has some free courses, and the one that I've enrolled in right now is the Constitution.
Ooh,
And they
nice.
actually do teach you, and then you do have to take quizzes, and you do have to. So it's not like just sitting there. I mean, and I don't know what like I'll earn from it, but I'm not really doing it for anything but the education, because the Constitution is really interesting, and it's already started out with Hillsdale is. They won't take any money from the government. They won't take
Wow.
anything. It's really interesting if you ever get to look them up. But right now it started off with the Declaration and the Constitution, which are two separate items.
Yes.
But some people do get them mixed up and think differently and stuff. But it is different. But it's just interesting to me. So I really did want to do a deep dive into the Constitution. Because you hear so many people saying, this is unconstitutional, this is unconstitutional. Well, the Constitution, and so, yes, and I love it. So I wanted to understand more of what the founders were thinking. And these are people that really dive into it and are really, have more of a grasp of. So I think that's that's what's going on right now with me.
I like that. I mean, the Declaration of Independence, that tells you what that document is and dig into it. Now, I read in one of the things that I was reading about George Washington. He was called what? The General in the Garden. I have his book. And it's an interesting book. And then they talk about the Constitution, and I'd be interested to find out if you find out a little bit more. Did they base some of our Constitution on actually the Native Americans nations? Because
Okay, that'd be interesting.
they had come up with like their own little constitution where the different tribes got together and wrote a so that'd be interesting if they have some of that. There's someplace I read that some of our constitution was based on the way these nations worked together.
Well, one of the people that interests me already, and which has been interesting me, but is really intrigued me, is James Madison. He is a really interesting person, and some of the things that he has said and done and written, and also I think some of this will go into. Oh gosh, it's a book that I've got too that I'm reading. The Federalist Papers. So it's going to be interesting and in doing it, and I'm trying to take my time with it because I don't have to graduate by, I don't have to do it. And so I can hopefully stop and rewind, and if I don't understand it, maybe I can understand it a little bit more and stuff. But I'm trying to understand, because even with police officers and stuff, there's things constitutionally you don't have to give them. Unless they have a reason. You don't have to give them your license. You don't have to give them certain things just because. But I mean, we're taught so many of these things. So yes, you do. But constitutionally, you don't.
You don't. I mean that you can.
They
if
have
they're
to
questioning you and they have no grounds, you can just leave.
Or if they stop you in your vehicle, I mean, you don't have to give certain things and do. Anyway, it's just interesting to me, different levels of things. So I don't know. It's just something I've been interested in. So I decided to delve into it.
And it's good for your mind.
It is good for my mind, and learning. Learning is always good.
I always say, if you can do anything. Our diocese had an offer to take a class with the Secret Service on awareness. It was a 2 hour. It was so good. And actually, you can send, and they'll send you information and how to be aware and what to look for. And our diocese was providing it because on any given time, you're not isolated. It doesn't matter whether you're rural or not. And they had case studies. It was so good. And that was free. And I enjoyed it. And I learned from it. And, we're always talking about observe, assess, and react.
Mm-hmm.
And you're actually doing that. You're observing what our founders did and how they wrote this Constitution.
Yes.
And doing their assessment, and then, I'm going to react, because you're going to have a reaction to this after you finish doing all these studies.
Well,
because you'll have knowledge.
It's made me think about so many things because we're getting ready to have our meeting. Mm-hmm. And I've only been on the board a little while. But you originally, this organization was set up with governance.
Yeah, you have to have bylaws.
And yes, you have to have reasons why you exist, mm-hmm, how you're going to handle things. And
you have a mission statement.
And it's not for somebody like me to come in and go, well, you need to change all that. You know what I mean?
That's why I got off of the other board.
So, I mean,
yeah, you can't.
And it's like with our Constitution, it was set up, and right now, out of all the countries, even though I don't feel like we're taught enough about it in schools, and maybe there's not enough time, I don't know, but we're still the best country, and that's why people like us, because of the way we are. And I think that's why they want to come here, is because they like the way we're set up. It's
and if you listen,
and we're a republic, not a democracy.
We're a republic. That's exactly it. And if you listen to, I'm going to sort of a little off here with the indictment,
mm-hmm,
of former
mm-hmm,
President Trump last week,
mm-hmm,
there are more people,
mm-hmm,
that are worried about,
mm-hmm,
the ramifications of this,
mm-hmm,
because this is like a third world country.
Mm-hmm.
If
because
your political opponent, you don't like them, you will arrest them. In some countries, they're assassinated, they're imprisoned, and that's a third world
that's
country.
What they're trying to do.
And that's what they're trying
exactly.
to do. And if you look at some of these people who are immigrants, I don't mean illegals, but
Mm-hmm,
immigrants,
mm-hmm,
and they're in New York City,
mm-hmm,
they don't like what happened.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
In fact, my husband was
because they've seen it, and that's one of the things they've learned. And they're looking at us like, what are you doing?
What's wrong with you people? What?
But you can't tell the ones that are here.
Well,
I mean,
it's not. What's happening is they're looking if they can do that to him.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's free for all for everybody.
Mm-hmm. It is, and the ones that did this and are joyful about it, they do not know what they've unleashed.
Oh yeah, there was a.
So my thing is Godspeed to all you, because you've done it now, and from now on it'll be in a law book somewhere. Precedent number, and then that's what legal people do. They come up with it and they get their precedents from court case, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. And it's like the harbinger, because we've forgotten that God is in our Constitution.
Mm-hmm. They keep wanting to take it out. They keep taking it out. Yes, and they keep wanting to move the flags. They want to move everything.
And that's because it's like the tail wagging the dog, instead of the brains that's behind everything that built this republic, mm-hmm, for us. And
that was what gave us our strength, and why we have,
right,
and because we have always supported Israel.
That's right, exactly.
And whenever we stop doing those things, and we stop being, then
and that's what we've done. And those are the harbingers that they were talking about, and it started back in 9/11. And so glad you're taking. And
Yeah,
sort of
I'm
a
really.
different subject to sort of bring it in. When I was at the doctor's yesterday, he mentioned, most countries, in many countries, people don't retire. They keep working. Of course, I thought about it later. Some countries, they have very long vacations, like 6 months.
Oh, they do. And
So they
do.
don't care if they don't, they're recharged and
Mhm,
refreshed, so
mhm.
they can continue working. But as he was saying, that a lot of people who are retired are people who have so much knowledge and they just stop. So I love it when you're taking classes, and if they give me a free class, I'll take a free class if I can fit it in because you want to do it.
You do, and
It's knowledge.
there's so many things that they teach at this. You'll have to look it up. It's not only this one, but the Constitution is like one of the things I think they jump start off of because you really need to understand this and to go to. But there are other classes, and then I'm sure that which I haven't gotten into those, but there are paid classes as well. But you know, there's just so many things that we were taught, but we may not be taught correctly. Like, I guess I always thought the Federal Reserve was a part of the government, but it's not.
It's a reserve.
It's a part of, and so it's people that sit on a board there that govern whether or not your interest rate and your monies and
It's
all
sort of
these
like a
things.
separate.
There is a separate entity, but we think when the Federal Reserve speaks, everybody listens, kind of like remember those days. But I mean, the Federal Reserve controls so much, but it really is just a board.
That's right.
And there's a lot of, it's just interesting on some things. So and I do have, so I will have to write that one down and see if that one pops up. Whether or not how we how some of our things were formed and stuff.
I mean, see, Turning Point, we wanted it to be a place where people could go and, learn about different things. Maybe it's a healthier diet, exercise, whatever. And I'm constantly coming. I have information. It's a book called Natural Practitioner. You know that book. I have some. And I love it because there's so much in there, and I'll put them out. And I think it's important. We may not make a big significant change, but I think we can do something for our community. You know, especially if we have a lower rent and overhead, then we can. And there are other places, there may be people that we want to help out. And I love it. If there's education, help somebody. Maybe set up a scholarship or something that would be kind of cool. Any little bit helps for anybody, you know? So that's something that we can do. And the bylaws are important. You have to have all those bylaws written. And if you ignore them, like you said, somebody can't come in and ignore the bylaws. You can change them if you discuss it.
And if you feel like, it's a reasonable thing to do, but you have to have foundations. It all comes back to foundations to me,
Yeah,
right?
it can't be willy-nilly.
I mean, it's
What is your purpose? What do you want to do? I think one of the big things that we have fun doing is going to the Piedmont Geriatrics with these people. I mean, even just being there. The doctor I talked to yesterday said they did a study, and they had some retired people in a nursing home type thing, and they broke them up into two groups. One group just lived their lives isolated. The other group would have a college student come and visit them periodically. The mortality rate was higher in the group that had no visitors.
I can imagine.
Sure. They had nothing new to stimulate their mind.
And no reasons for getting up, no anything.
Nothing. So it sometimes I wonder if I look in the mirror like, gee, I don't feel that old.
I know. One of my
Oh, gee, where'd that the wrinkles is falling. Everything's going south.
I know
Gravity
it does.
pulls,
It
gravity
does.
pulls everything down and keep pushing it up and up.
It just happens.
It happens. Um,
When you look at little babies and everything, their skins are so tight and taut, and and they're just, and then you compare it to the difference, and things are not as.
You get older and your skin gets tender, so you buy baby soap. Both ends of the spectrum. You use the same.
It really is amazing and stuff. It is. It's amazing. Um, on this Hillsdale site, because it's Hillsdale College, and it says learning, character, faith, and freedom. These are the inseparable purposes of Hillsdale College.
Wow.
That says a lot just right there.
Right there.
And you can donate to them.
Statement.
And it says developing minds, improving hearts. Hillsdale College is a small Christian classical liberal arts college in southern Michigan that operates independently of government funding. Our students come from nearly all the United States and a dozen foreign countries and drawn to the challenge of Hillsdale education. They grow in heart and mind by studying timeless truths in a supportive community and dedicated to the highest things. It's just interesting to me. History of classical music, that's a free one. Exodus story. I think some of these will be interesting, but I don't want to do too much at one time. But see, I'm one that would love to keep learning.
Oh, you have to.
I would love to just go to if college was not as expensive as it was. There's things, but now
I if I didn't, if I were younger, I'd probably do some theology.
Well, I would love to do law.
Oh yeah.
And criminal, especially since
criminology.
Since I love the criminal justice system and stuff. Yeah.
Oh man, that would be. Get DNA.
And the psychology part of it all. Yeah.
See, the doctor yesterday I talked to was on Supporters, which of course is Catholic. It's St. Francis. And I have my cross on and my do what Jesus would do. And so we started to talk. And talking about physics. And he said there's a physicist who did a lot of research. And it involves math and DNA and all, everything, when you look at the units of everything. See, I knew that call was going to come in. So when you look at the physics, what he did is he went to the primordial, the soup of DNA. And in order to get life the way we were formed, the probabilities of those units coming together was minuscule. So, if you don't believe in a God, you got to.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that the chance for these microscopic units to come together and form us. We are special. We are a creation, and we were created by a being, a supreme being, a God, that created us. And I said, my husband said, "Yeah, I didn't think I was going to start proselytizing when I went to my check." But I mean, if you look at that, yes. I remember a lighthouse type thing where as you go through the lighthouse, there's little windows, and we can explain this, we can explain that, we can explain this, but you get to the top and there's this huge, powerful light. We can explain it often. There you go, folks. If you don't believe in miracles, stay around us for a while.
I mean, they can manipulate DNA, but they can't start from scratch.
No, that's a whole thing.
I mean, they play with these things, and they try to clone things, but they cannot start from scratch and make a human being.
They can't.
Because only God can make the substance. Yeah, we are fearfully and wonderfully made.
We are.
And that's why, and one thing I try to get across to people is that God does not make any junk. He doesn't. Now, he doesn't. You are put here for a purpose and a plan. You are not a mistake. It doesn't matter how you got here. It doesn't matter if you're a rape baby. It doesn't matter if you were unplanned. I mean, it's very
There's
rare.
a path that he has you
Exactly.
set on.
Hmm.
You
I
have
mean,
to follow
so it's yes, I mean, you're special, you're unique. He loves you. He created you. You can't be created without him. So I mean, to deny that.
it. And that is actually what has happened to our country,
Hmm.
is that we've had people who deny that, and they have changed the way our country was following a godly path.
Hmm.
You don't, and we don't say you have to have this religion.
Hmm. No.
Or that
That's
religion.
what this country was
That's
founded
what
on.
it's founded on. Everybody was accepted. It's in godly trust. It's on our money.
Now, do I want you? Yes, I will not deny that. I would love for you to know God and Jesus. I would, but
That's your
we
choice.
are founded upon this, and and every man has to come to Jesus on their own. But He is the only way. He is the
Judeo-Christian
door.
values.
He is the door.
He is
So
the
I mean,
door.
He is the only way. But yes, it's we are veering from that. I saw a little meme other day, and it had like either two women or two men, and it said each of these, you know, you can't put these two together and make something. It took one of each of them to make the person now that's trying not. I mean, and it you're crumbling, or you're trying to crumble our foundation when you do these things.
If you don't believe, and somebody, oh, that's fate. It's not fate. Fate doesn't just work that way. And I can't help but say, and I was just looking here that Fauci has talked about COVID and the 6 foot type thing and all of that. That was all a hoover It didn't work.
Well, no, because now they're finding there's no science behind it.
There's no science behind
And we
it.
said that at the beginning.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, but anyway,
Open up a bottle of ammonia here, and in 60 seconds, the whole room will be filled with it. So it doesn't matter if you're 6 feet away or down the
or
hall.
if you had a mask. I mean, you're still gonna. It took non-science people telling them it's not working.
Not working.
I mean, when you walk by somebody, you can smell them, even if you had a mask on. You knew.
No, okay, so my hip was replaced just at the cusp of COVID.
Okay.
All right. I went to my doctor. It was like first part of January. They scheduled my hip replacement for April 2nd, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
February 7th,
Mm-hmm.
I called. I said, "Is there a waiting list?" And they said, "Yes, but you're number 8." Jeez. 8. That was February 7th. That was Friday. Saturday's the 8th. Sunday's the 9th. February the 10th. Working out, 10 o'clock. My phone rings. "Hi, Mrs. So-and-so. Could you have your surgery Thursday?" "This Thursday?" She says, "February the 13th. "Yes, I'll be there." She says, "Well, you'll have to come to the hospital this afternoon for a pre-test, and you have to have your class on the 12th. That's 3 days. Now, I went from Friday being the 8th to number 1. Right? Guess what happened? COVID hit.
Exactly.
And by the end of February, first part of March, everything was closed. Hospitals were closed down. So those people who denied that surgery on that day
Mm-hmm.
probably had to wait
exactly.
long months.
Mm-hmm.
Because April 2nd is when I was originally scheduled, and I couldn't have done it then because it was closed.
Well,
Don't tell me that's not a miracle.
it is a miracle. It is a miracle. And, I've been listening to a little bit of Fauci's testimonies and stuff. And I try not to listen to too much because I know you have to have these hearings and things. I understand that because we need to go back and, well, but you need to go back and you need to see what's what. And we were fighting some of the stuff then and didn't think it was right and stuff, but nobody listened. But I do find myself when I listen to these testimonies and these things and the excuses they put on, and I think about the detriment. I think about people walking by and just waving at people in a window because you couldn't associate, because you
Yeah.
couldn't have. And as it goes back to what you said, people needed people.
You did.
And
And the
so
kids,
they
oh.
killed more people, I think, by isolating them than they did, because they harmed more people mentally, spiritually, physically.
Educational system. What did they do to the kids?
I mean, the older people that could not have contact, could not have visitors, could not have this. I mean, and families that could not even bury their loved ones. I mean, I look at this and I've got family members that could not bury loved ones or couldn't have funerals. And to me, that is so wrong. It like I said, I can't get started on it because I will go down. It really, it makes me
The only
so.
thing I can say is I didn't catch a lot of calls because I was wearing a mask on. But we were doing some things anyway. We started.
Hey, but there was no flu.
There was no food, and
Flu disappeared for like a year and a half.
the thing, private
It's
schools,
amazing how.
private schools did not have to close. Kenston Forest actually got higher enrollment, and
But they had to close for a while.
Yeah, but they didn't close for long, and they actually just finished a new addition because they have so many kids.
But they shut churches down where people needed to be in church.
We had
People
church
needed.
here in the auditorium because we could spread out. Couldn't sing in choir. We had these duck masks that we used for choir.
And then I look at old TV shows where everybody's wearing masks, and I'm thinking we were stupid. That was just stupid. It was stupid. It was a stupid time in
Some
life.
people still, and I can see if they don't want to spread cultures, and they put a nice thing. That's fine, but that's okay. And I'm like,
Well, I mean, it's one thing if you choose it. Like I said,
it's
even
your
during the flu season, I tend to be cautious when I go to the grocery store. I was doing that before COVID
I was too.
because you don't know who has touched
What?
the hand, the hand basket. You don't know who has touched what. I do tend to be, but that was my choice. Yeah, and some of my family look at me like I'm crazy, but I was doing that before. But it was during seasons,
I always
not
did it
sitting
all.
out in the bar.
Outside,
Not sitting in a bar, and I
we
didn't.
exercised outside.
It just was
and I have a
crazy.
filter over here in the corner that has.
And riding in my car, I didn't wear a mask by myself.
Well, see, now I will tell. This is what I really think. All of our cars should have a little UVC light built in the whole circulation system because I don't want to ride when my sister has the flu again.
Well, I don't want to be around people that are sick, period.
Okay.
I mean, even when the little grandkids get sick, Nikki and them laugh at me because I'm like, how long they been sick? When did they get it? What they doing?
Yeah, you can stay home. Yeah, because then you get sick again when you have the flu and COVID at the same time. Really, did I have to have double dose? Now, I don't know where the COVID came from, but who knows?
Anyway, it's crazy, but all right, guys. Well, we're gonna have to shut it down. But
that was fast.
It was fast, and probably not a lot. But anyway, hopefully you got something. Check out Hillsdale.
Yes.
Think about your Constitution.
Yes. See.
And
these are free from all over.
And really, to me, what they did was not constitutional. They're trying to say it was but I really, anyway, that's another subject for another day.
That's right.
All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.